Today, I'm going to play, explore, and experiment the watercolor paint at home. I have got some different colors of paint such as pink, red, yellow, green, and blue from my 3-year-old boy. And I have prepared a large white paper lay on the table. I have squeezed some of the paint out in a plate, and I noticed that the texture of the paint is silky with vibrant color, just like Paolo described that watercolor paint flows on the paper in a splash of vibrant color. It lays silky, dancing color on heavy paper, weakening the eyes, and it both intensely sensual and quite specific in the skills it requires. I have explored the paint with various tools and materials during the process of play. I have used a toothbrush to get some yellow paint and brush it on the paper, and I felt the paint was easily flowed on the paper with the movement of the toothbrush in my hand. Then I was suddenly wondering what's going to happen if I mix the yellow color with the other color on the paper. So I have used the toothbrush to take some red color and brushed it over the yellow paint on the paper. I could see the colors getting mixed gradually and reacted with orange color on the paper. What an interesting experiment. Pacini Culture Bar, Kind Culture stated that paint on the floor, on easels, on walls, on bodies, on brushes, invites different actions, different movements, different ways of being and becoming, and how other materials respond to paint's provocations that are also different, as each participates in the process. I have tried many different ways to interact with the pen to see how it would react differently. For example, I have used different types of brushes to interact with the pen and have felt different pressures and movements when painting. Then I have tried different shapes of paint rollers to create the patterns on the paper. And I have discovered the paint appeared in different patterns on the paper. Moreover, I have used more materials such as the cotton stick, the pom-pom, and the wine cork to interact with the paint and participate in play. And I could see the paint was moved and reacted differently, and became with different ways or patterns on the paper. Then I would like to see how paint would react in the water. I have used the brush again to get some yellow color paint to dip into the clear water in a glass jar. And I have noticed the paint was smoothly spreading into the water, and the water has changed into the yellow color. Suddenly, I have got an idea to get some red paint to dip into the water. As I have experimented, yellow with red paint became orange color on the paper just now. So I have used the brush to get some red paint to dip into the water jar. I noticed that the red paint slowly spread out in the water and covered the yellow color. Then the water appeared to change into the red color, but finally turned into the orange color when I was moving the brush and mixing in the water. This experiment has drawn my attention that we can get the orange color easily with mixing yellow and red. During the play with the pen, my childhood memories suddenly came up and reminded me that I was playing the pen like a decalcomania way when I was a little girl. Then I have decided to play again. I took out one A4 paper and folded it in half and opened it. And I have picked a pink pen to squeeze only one of half the A4 paper into a heart shape, and close the other half of paper over it and press the paper with my hands. After I opened the paper again, the exactly same pattern appeared on both sides of the paper. Meanwhile, I wanted to touch the pen, do some finger and hand painting, just like what I was doing in the childhood. Finger painting invites attention to color, to texture, and to movement. As we run our fingers, the palms and the backs of our hands, and our arms and elbows across the paper slick with colored paint. I have touched the pink pen with my fingertip and felt its viscosity texture, and I pressed my fingertip on the paper that I clearly could see my fingerprint patterns show up on the paper. Then I used the brush to brush different colors of paint on my palm and pressed the palm strongly on the paper a few times that I could see the shape and pattern of my palm printed out on the paper with vibrant colors. As Pacini Culture Bar, Kind Culture pointed out, our body took center stage and occupied an important place in our paint assemblages. And also, Miney tells us touch-in paint assemblages is not just only a tactile sensory input, but also a listening and a seeing perspective through encountering with the material. At the end of the play, I have mixed all colors of paint in the plate. I wondered what color would be during the mixing process, and I have got a new color like between light brown and dark green. And I have brushed this new color on my paper as well, and I'm done with the play today. This is my final artwork.